it has caused the schedule to be altered. And Andy, you alluded to this. Teams are going to play 2 conference games in December. That's the first thing to keep in mind. It's the same weekend as the Big Ten football championship game, so very early in the month. There will be Big Ten games every day of the week, so adding Mondays and Fridays. This is all due to compressing the schedule because in order to play at MSG, the conference moved its tourney up a week, with the March Madness actually technically beginning February 28th here at the Garden. So, look, this alters things for the coaches significantly, and a lot of them spoke today about the impact of that schedule. What did you glean from what they had to say, John?
Well, I'm trying to read between the lines. A lot of what we hear is on the surface, right? And what really takes place is below the surface. And below the surface, I think coaches like what's going on because it brings a sense of urgency to everything that they do, including some of those foreign tours that a lot of these coaches talked about. They got a few practices in. They got to work with their team. And there's a sense of urgency now, not only with these non-conferences games, but with every single practice. So the hope is that with Big Ten games coming early in December, coaches coach with a certain sense of urgency. Players actually listen and get taught as if this actually matters. So I think it's going to be entertaining and exciting for us to cover non-conference games that otherwise are really inconsequential and boring. I think they actually matter now from an execution standpoint because come December 1st, it all is going to start to get serious.
Well, it's a heck of a sales job for the November games, by the way.
Okay, sure.
Well,
Sorry about that.
2 key points. Number one, the reason they couldn't get in the week of, Champ Week, for lack of a better term, was because the Big East already was here.
Right.
So they wanted to make that sacrifice. The ACC's in Brooklyn, so it made sense for them to get in here when they could. Second point, get used to games early in December with a 20-league schedule. The Big Ten is going to have to play, like a lot of leagues, more conference games earlier in the month of December. The reason December becomes a problem is you have final exams and you have the holidays and no students. And so the schools, whether it's the Big Ten or the ACC, they're going to want to play games early in December when their students are still on campus, not later in the month when you're up against the holidays and no students on campus. So this is going to be the new normal.
Right, and you mentioned it, Andy, the Big Ten announcing today, and it wasn't the most well-kept secret. I mean, they've been talking about it for a while now, that they are going to a 20-game conference schedule starting next season. So we'll hear that discussion a lot. There was some of it today. We'll hear a lot of it here going forward next year as to the impact that has, particularly on strength of schedule and RPI.